We got sound and action, and we are here. Sorry I'm a little late. So you can let everybody know he's on the air now. He's on the air. Oh, he's on the air. He's on the air. He's on the air. Got a lot to talk about. Let's see. Radio live. Radio live. There it is. Nope, not Radio Love. Radio Live. There we go. Good morning, everybody. Oh, it's not morning anymore. It's afternoon. But it is beautiful outside. I think I see a little clouds out there, or either my glasses are dirty. One or the other. One or the other. It's either, is that clouds? Or is
Yes, it is cloudy.
Okay, and my glasses are a little dirty. I don't know why, but they are. Welcome to another. Is that me?
Yes.
That's me. Dun, dun, dun. That's how the show starts?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Annalisa says no sound.
That was while we were waiting.
Okay. Annalisa, can you hear us now? Can you hear me now? A lot going on. I want to talk about today. I'm going to talk about landlord rights and tenant rights because there's a lot of shady stuff going on out here. And some people, and it's on both sides. I'm going to say it's on both sides. You got some landlords out here doing some shady stuff, and you got some tenants out here doing some shady stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you what the New York State Attorney General says you can do and cannot do, because I'm talking to more people talking about I'm holding my rent. Well, there's a whole process, my mind, for holding your rent. You can't just hold the rent into your pocket and spend it because a screen is not in. And so we're going to be talking, my computer, why you want to buffer now? Why you want to buffer now? So there's a whole process for that. So we'll be talking about that today. We're also going to be talking about a report released yesterday. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know why my computer decided that it just wanted to. And, now I put that AI stuff on. So when I put it in there, AI takes over. I gotta get rid of this. I got to move it over somewhere. I got to readjust it. AI wanted to tell, you put in Jesus. It wanted to do a whole report.
Yeah, it's going to tell you everything.
It's going to tell you everything. Let me see if I can pull up the news. So I'm going to talk about this report that was released about Roswell. And you look, okay, first of all, do you do any of the fairs? You know the Niagara County Fair start? You don't do fairs?
No, I am not a fair or amusement park person.
I'm amusement park. I could do amusement park all day.
Really?
I'm a roller coaster person.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do round. I can't do round and around. Now, you cannot put me on anything that perpetually goes around and around.
Nope.
Put me on any roller coaster, and I'm happy.
No, I it's a waste of time. So I tell people, don't even invite me. I don't want to stand in no long lines because all I'm gonna do is eat, and then I'm gonna empty out my bank account trying to just get a hot dog and a water. So no, I'm good. Just y'all go ahead, be blessed, have fun, but not me.
Well, our young people are going to, where are they going? Cedar Point in a couple weeks. If I'm in town, I would go because all I want to do is ride the roller coaster.
Good for you.
I don't eat fair food. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Now, fair food is different.
Fair food is the bomb.
Is different.
Fair food is the bomb. But I'll eat. Let me tell you, when my kid, it's so good not to have little kids no more because the boys can go to the Dairy Lake out. You don't have to walk with them. You don't have. They don't want you to walk with them. Number one.
No.
I used to, when the kids were small, put them on the ride
and then go eat.
Run to get something to eat. Woof it down, and then go back to them. Now, that's because kids they was wasting. And the food, and we would go to Darien Lake, always had season passes to Darien Lake. Kids would just go, and they just want stuff.
Absolutely.
They just want, just because. I needed, for real, nourishment. I just run and get me a quick hot dog, and they nasty. At the
Terrible.
Nasty. No charbroil. just rolling on that thing, just a rolling on the rollers, the heated rollers. You put it on some bread that's seen better days. Give you too much ice in your drink, and I still ate it.
Absolutely.
But the fare
is completely different.
My goodness.
Actually, I just had a friend I met not too long ago. He's a food critic. He posted yesterday there is a Carnival 365 restaurant in Buffalo.
Really?
That basically serves carnival food all year round.
You know, then I need to check that out because my mom, but I think she's going to the fair day. She likes Oh, it's black owned. All right,
Yeah.
all right. You can come on through the camera.
Yeah,
You know
might
how we do it. I mean, it's blinking on and off anyway. But he said it's just the monitor.
It's the cable, yeah.
It's black owned. My mom likes something she keep asking me to get. Fried dough.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you could eat fried. Ugh.
So you don't eat funnel cake?
No.
You don't eat pancakes?
No.
Oh, all right. Well, at least you're consistent.
Oh, I'm saying something new. Former federal prosecutor William Hochul to leave Delaware North after 7 years.
Yeah, that dropped yesterday.
Well, I'm trying to share it with the people. I got it that you got it first.
Yeah.
I am looking at this article. I did not know that. And also, John A. Johnson, 81, has died, has transitioned. Mr. Johnson was well-known member of St. John Baptist Church, involved in everything from youth to the PENS program they're giving him credit for. He has been working alongside with the Ellicott District and St. John with McCarley Gardens. And just his response to the people was just wonderful.
Yeah.
Of him taking responsibility, the church taking responsibility and say, yeah, okay, there's some problems in the reconstruction.
Yep.
And then they just made sure that company changed.
Yeah.
And and I'm not saying there are not any complaints now, but it's sure not what it was.
Yeah, that's a huge loss for St. John and their and all of them over there. That's a huge loss.
Yeah, and our community. Okay, Roswell Park, folks. Let me. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna read a part of the article and I'm gonna give you my feeling about this situation going on at Roswell Park. In full disclosure, I am related to somebody who works at Roswell Park, so I'll be full disclosure so nobody will say, oh, he's saying that because, nope, I'm saying this because I cover anything else that is public, and I'm going to cover this because I think it's important. Roswell Park Comprehensive Cancer, and this from Buffalo News, historically didn't prioritize diversity and had a confusing system for handling discrimination complaints. And some hospital employees said that they had little faith hospital leadership would properly address those claims, which included racial slurs and, quote, endemic hostility toward employees of color. These are among the key findings of diversity report prepared for Roswell Park's board of directors by the Cousin O'Connor law firm and kept secret since its 2022 completion. We conclude that substantial changes need to be made to Roswell Park's existing policies and procedures regarding the reporting process for discrimination and related complaints. Now, I just want to get to one part. Because Roswell Park argued that the report was privileged communication. Officials said they decided to release the report to demonstrate transparency and to show their commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Quote, bigotry, bias, and bullying has no place at Roswell Park, board chair Leisha Eve said during a meeting Thursday with the news editorial board. It is not Roswell's way, and it cannot and it will not be tolerated, full stop. Now, I want to get to the lawyers. So what I want to get to is the fact that, number one, Roswell Park's board itself is the one that hired the law firm to come in and investigate them. Now, why is this important? All over the country right now, different states, especially Florida and other southern states, and Supreme Court
Yeah.
has erased, not just blurred, erased the lines of programs and attention to diversity at colleges, universities, and other things across this country. Across this country, there is a move right now. Get rid of diversity,
Yep.
get rid of inclusion, get rid of anything that deals with equity.
Yep.
Folks, this is serious. The reason I want to talk about Roswell Park for a minute is because I want to make it plain, because people won't make it plain. This was not a regulatory body coming in saying to Roswell, we're going to investigate you.
Right.
This was Roswell itself saying,
We need to.
we need to address this. That doesn't happen
No.
in most situations. And if you think that Roswell Park is the only institution that has some problems with diversity, with inclusion, with equity, you are fooling yourself. But what Roswell Park did, and I'm going to talk about it because I know some of the players, is that they said, let's pay somebody
Right.
to come in, examine where we are with this so we can do better.
And it's not like some other reports that we see that are paid by an outside person, and then that report comes in, and then now once the person who paid for it gets it, now puts the icing on it,
Yes.
and smooths it down.
Yes.
And I'm glad, like you said, it wasn't like Roswell friendly, and
Absolutely.
So,
And they could have kept that report.
Absolutely.
Because even like on the council, there are things that our attorney gives us, and it's client attorney privilege.
Yes.
And if we want to release it, if the attorney say we can, but obviously some things, if they're released, unscrupulous people who will lie and make allegations will look at the patterns. Oh, okay, well, this is what their attorney said.
Right.
Da, da, da. So that's what protects people in a democracy. And Roswell could have kept it private. They didn't. That's number one.
Yes.
I say big ups to Roswell. Did they have some problems? Yeah, but this is historic. This is not something that happened in the last couple of years. This is something allegedly
Right.
that was happening for a long time. Somewhere along the line, a responsible board and responsible leadership said, let's look at it and let's pay somebody. Not let's wait until there's an investigation. Not let's wait until, the labor board comes in.
Yep.
Let's pull up our boots and be big boys and girls, get somebody to come in, look at the situation. When they found it, of course, I'm sure in the beginning there had to be some discussion. What are we going to do with it? Then they released it. That's number one. Go ahead.
That is number one. And I will say that, as you already echoed, and I'm just further yelling it, they're not the only institution with these problems. They may be the only one that looked within themselves and paid somebody to come and look at it, but they are not. They're not the only one in the medical field. They're not the only major corporation in this. We'll say the city.
Yeah.
They're not the only one in the city with the issue. They're just the only one that stood up and said, we have a problem. Let's run a report to see how we fix it.
Absolutely. Amber Bowling online says Roswell Park may bring others out of their closets. I agree, because at the end of the day, I think it's okay. And let me just say this, and I'm not getting paid by Roswell.
Nope.
Roswell, and nobody from Roswell asked me to do this.
They're not a sponsor of the
They're
show.
not a sponsor of this show. When I read it and I thought, I know people will, some people will just run and not know that this is an institution that they went out and paid somebody to investigate them. And then, so that's number one. Number two, a person that I was able to really work closely with at City Hall, the former deputy mayor, Crystal Rodriguez Dabney. Now, folks, I'm pretty transparent on this show. There have been deputy mayors that, we didn't work well together.
Right.
We just didn't. I'll say this, Ellen Grant,
Yes.
who is over at Roswell, wonderful to work with.
Absolutely.
When I say wonderful, right heart, right place,
Absolutely.
right time. Crystal, when I say tough, as nails. And we would get in that room and battle it out. And then figure out, how do we produce the best for the people in the city of Buffalo? I'm going to tell you, that was what my memory of Crystal was, of how do you get in that room and how do you battle it out and how do you make it work best for people? They hired Crystal. Hired Crystal after an exhaustive search. She is an attorney. She is certified in certain areas there, but right away walked in on the ground. Just let's go, let's face it, and let's fix it.
Absolutely.
Let's face it, let's fix it. I don't know, when I went into the military, I remember my recruiter said, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to do something in basic. They're going to find something. They are trying to get you to follow orders.
Right.
And you come into this man's army or women's army, Air Force. Excuse me for making that error. Not in the Army.
I was
the
getting
Air
ready to say,
Force.
oof.
Oh, goodness gracious. Excuse me to every Air Force veteran out there. I'm just saying, are you Army? Were you Army? I have no problem with the Army because we were all needed. I just didn't want to eat those little dried up meals and sleep in tents and stuff. That ain't. You can say it out loud, but it made you tough. I got Rob here in the background just stopping there. Yeah, I didn't want to eat that. So anyway, the recruiter said, when they catch you doing something wrong, here's your response. Sorry, sir, or ma'am.
Yep.
I apologize. This will not happen again, and this is how I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Absolutely.
And I remember getting in trouble. It didn't really work as easy, as the recruiter said. But so we're out doing drills in Texas, and they had us basically extend our arm out to the right on the next person, and that's how you adjust on how much space basically you're supposed to have, blah, 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 right? I think it was called cover. Was it cover? Cover. And I was the lead, so... But I wasn't the lead then.
Of course.
I was the lead. I ended up being the lead because they had another person up front in the lead when we'd be marching, and he didn't have rhythm. And I started calling out cadence in the back. And one day, the TI technical instructor, and I go back to the story. I know I'm all over the place. Stopped the line and was like, Pridgeon, get up front. And I go up front, and I really didn't know what to do. And he was like, call the cadence now. And it was like, your left, your left, your left. And I don't have rhythm, but I can march my behind off.
Wow.
I don't have, now let me dance. I can't dance. I can't dance. When William Murphy was here, he talking about lean in my direction. I can't do it. I just kind of leaned over.
Yeah.
He was leaning all cool, and I'm just kind of leaned over. But the point is, okay. I didn't, when the TI turned around, I put my hand down. And he saw me. So he turned around and he was like, Pridgeon. Didn't I say, my hand go, I'm sorry, sir, it won't happen again. He was like, go get your toothbrush. Oh, my God, go get your toothbrush. Go get your toothbrush. I go get my toothbrush. He was like, scrub with my toothbrush.
Oh, no.
But later that day was BX day anyway, so I
You
just
just
bought a new
bought a new
toothbrush.
one.
Ha!
And you still live by that.
What?
You still live by that principle because I remember you brought me in the office one day and I was just like, hey, man, I'm sorry. It's
Oh,
my
yeah,
fault.
yeah.
And you was like, well, you literally took the paper, balled it up, was like, I got nothing else to say.
Because that's what that's what he taught me. He said, how much more can a person say after you have apologized? Come up with a game plan and move on. What you gonna keep going on and on and on and on? That's all I ask. Even from every person who works for. You're gonna somebody texted me or emailed me last night. Hey, I dropped the ball on such and such, and I said thank you. I appreciate the honesty. I said that means more to me than anything. Here's the point on Roswell. Let me get all the way back. It was like that same scenario.
Yeah.
Let's look at where we're dropping the ball. Let's pick up the ball.
Yeah.
And let's change it.
Absolutely.
So bringing on a Crystal, number 2. Number 3, what I think is important. Is that the governor appointed Leisha Eve as the head of the board.
Yep.
Black woman, black attorney. So now you have senior vice president, Crystal Rodriguez Dabney. Yeah, I said all the names right. Her as a senior vice, black and Latina
Yep.
woman, at the head of And then the head of the board right now
Yep.
is a black, intelligent woman whose father obviously fought for civil rights, and God, she looks like him. I looked at the Buffalo News,
Just like.
and I see Leisha. You know, we see each other out and about and have known each other for years. I did not recognize how much Leisha Eve looks like Art Eve until today, looking at her in the paper. That's Art Eve's daughter.
Absolutely.
That is Art Eve's daughter. So to me, these are steps in the right direction and not just lip service. And I'll say this about Candace Johnson, who I have great respect for. At the end of the day, it was under her leadership.
Yeah.
And the present board's leadership that Roswell Park said, we need to fix our own problems.
Absolutely.
And I know there's some people saying, well, shouldn't they change at the top? It was the top that brought, it was the board and the president of the institution that made a decision. We need to look at this. Why would you go after somebody? See, this is what I don't want to happen, because what it'll do is scare other people.
Absolutely.
And other institutions, because if I then decide, let's do a top-down look at our institution
Absolutely.
to see where we're going to improve, and then I get my neck chopped off for doing it, it's going to scare. It will scare, and I'm not saying that there's not problems at other places. I'm just naming places that are healthcare. If Kaleida wanted to look at their diversity and inclusion and equity, if ECMC, if anybody, they would go, I would be like, oh, no, don't do that.
No.
Because you're going to find something. I don't care
Absolutely.
who it is. You're going to find something. And if now you're going for the leadership that put us there, that got us to a place of looking at it, you're going to scare other people away.
Well, and it's the same thing. Like, and I think that is good leadership, because if I'm sick and I go to a doctor and they tell me, hey, you're sick, and I'll be like, you know what? You're fired.
Yeah.
Then what was the point of going to the doctor?
Yeah.
Because then you got this long track record of, as soon as you have one appointment, the doctor tell you something I don't want. No, you're going to find another one.
Right, exactly.
So why would I ever? So it is good leadership for somebody to say, you know what? I'm not setting that culture of this. So let's find out what is going on so we can correct it and put in the right culture that I'm trying to set for this hospital.
Absolutely. And the question I have, why didn't the other leaders do that? You want to go after the person who now got us to this point of looking at our problems. There's a lot of talk on social media right now. India Walton says, shout out to Greg Daniel. This is why we need to hold black leadership at all levels. I agree. Join these boards, y'all. Now, I'm just going to say this. The one person ain't joining no board. Me. Me. We looking for somebody on the board. Not me. Not me. No. But she's right. We need to be on boards at the highest level, and that holds institutions accountable. Lakeisha says, some of the problems are so bad at the hospitals. Notice she says hospitals. I was told by security personnel that black lives don't matter. Wow. And then India, it's a new way that when people respond, it's showing up different on Facebook. Must be an update. Because India's responding to Lakeisha.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
I never see that.
Yeah, you could do that, yeah.
I should, I should write a chapter in my book about the racism in healthcare. I've experienced it as a patient and as a nurse. That's right, India. I forget India's a nurse.
Yeah.
She's been out here in the battlefield so long now. I forget that she know how to take blood and give you a shot.
Yeah, don't get on her bad side.
So it goes on, but India Walton is very bad. All doctors and lawyered up, and that, look, yeah, she's right. So a lot of times it's very difficult to get to some of the doctors, who are being discriminatory because they're lawyered up. This is a situation in which the hospital itself didn't lawyer up.
Right.
It got a lawyer to look at its operations.
Absolutely.
So what time is it? Do I got to pay some bills? We're going to pay some bills. And when we come back, we're going to talk about landlord and tenant and what I am seeing going on and what I'm trying to do before I leave office to try to help. We're going over to the studio. I think they're ready for me. We're at you at 3, 2, 1.
When it comes to something as personal as your clothes, you need to deal with somebody you can trust. That's why so many people turn to Hobson's Dry Cleaning, conveniently located in the heart of the community at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming.
When you take your clothes to Hobson's, you can trust that they'll be ready on time.
You can trust that your whites will be white.
You can trust that you'll always get a fair price and service with a smile.
You can even trust that you won't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. Hobson's has a drive-through window for your convenience.
Trust is what it's all about at Hobson's Dry Cleaning.
Hobson's Dry Cleaning, your one-stop dry cleaners serving the community for over 30 years at 874 East Delavan at the corner of Wyoming. Call 891-8298. That's 891-8298.
Brian K. Lewis Funeral Home has 3 locations to serve you in Buffalo: 347 Peckham, 2258 Bailey Avenue, and Providence Memorial Chapel at 1275 Sycamore. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes offers traditional services, and they have services for all faiths. And at Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, they have air-conditioned parlors and chapels. Financing is available, as is limousine service. At those difficult moments in your life, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes is available where you are with counseling services. Call toll-free 877-885-7734. That's 877-885-7734. Or locally, 845-5545. Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes. We are here to serve you, here to serve this present age. Call today, toll-free, 877-885-7734. Or email info@brianklewisfuneralhome.com.
All right, we are back. We are back. We are back live and in living color here in Buffalo, New York. Got Shea Day coming up in a minute. I'm going to be talking about some new laws that you might not even know. New laws. I ain't just talking about old laws. New laws in New York State protecting renters. And this ain't an anti-landlord show because I'm a landlord. Well, I run an organization that's a landlord. What's up? Shea Day coming up. I got to get you some mic. Say it again.
Yeah, we're in our 3rd year of Shea Day.
All right. Shea Day obviously recognizes
the late, great DJ Shea.
Yes, sir. Who was funeralized from here.
Yes, he was.
Funeralized from True Bethel. I was out of town. I didn't make it. And they had a clear coffin, right?
Yes.
See-through coffin. And they said the place was packed.
It was. During COVID.
Yeah, during COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of places wouldn't. They were like, no. Talk to us real quick what Shea Day is.
First, let me say thank you to you because not only you took care of Shea, Craig did an excellent job sending him home.
Oh, beautiful.
You know.
Yeah.
So I had to throw that out there. This
you.
is my home.
That's right.
But Shea Day, we do that to honor Shea every year. I know other cities when they fallen people in the music industry, they have days to honor them. So that day we actually do our book bag giveaway at McCarthy Park. We do our basketball tournament. We do the concert on the stage, and then we give all of our local, I call them small business owners, not vendors, a chance to come out there to make some money that day also.
True. So it's coming up, McCarthy Park. It is coming up. Now, can people still get in? There's unlimited entry fee of $250.
Actually, the basketball tournament is done.
Oh, wow.
But
how many teams?
You know what? We changed everything to an all-star game.
Wow, so it's one game.
Yep, 2 games. All-star, 3. High school all-star, girls high school all-star, and then the grown folks all-star game.
Okay.
And then, but I still have like maybe 3 vendor booths left.
Okay.
And if you was there last year and the year before, my 14-year-old daughter went home with over $1,000 by selling $5 body butter.
Stop it, man.
I'm dead serious.
She made it, or she just bought it and then sold it?
No, Connie's an entrepreneur. She made it.
$1,000, and it only costs $150 for a pop-up vendor.
But if you say that you heard it on my Bishop show, you get in for $100.
$100, folks. Who do they call? Where do they call?
Rob Cornelius, 716-247-1817.
$100 if you say I heard it on Power to the People. Or anything close to it. If you say I heard it on Preaching Show, if you say I heard it on Mark Show, if you say I heard it on True Bethel Show, if you say whatever you say, just say it, and we get $100.
Yes.
His daughter made $1,000.
Wow.
All I need is them 50 pop-ups somewhere. That's
it.
50 grand.
That's it.
That's 50 grand.
That's a nice year.
All right, 5 on 5 going on Saturday, August 12th, McCarthy Park, 9 o'clock a.m.
Yes.
until it's done.
We go 9, and I think I have them come pick up the stage at about 5:30 every year.
All right, $5,000 grand prize. $1,000 for the high school division boys and girls, but that part is over, so you
That
just
part
come
is
to
over.
look.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great day. And I gotta give a shout out to one of your favorite people, Rasheed Wyatt.
Yeah.
Who took care of my park fees, and also new restaurant on Hurdle, GK Vibes,
Okay.
who was one of our sponsors, and also your wife, which is one of our sponsors.
All right.
I didn't come at my bishop this year. I'll be at you next year.
Thank you. You know, the money is limited.
Yeah.
The harvest is plentiful, but the money is few.
Few.
New laws protecting our residential renters. Are y'all ready for this? Capping security deposits. Did you know that?
Wow.
Yes. Landlords can only charge up to 1 month of rent for a security deposit
Hallelujah.
or quote advance payment.
Hallelujah.
This applies to all residential rentals with a few exceptions, whether you have a lease or not. And this information, folks, you can go look at it yourself, is coming from the Attorney General of New York State official website. So this ain't no internet hype. This means that if you are moving into an apartment where the rent is $1,500 a month, the most your landlord can charge for a security deposit is $1,500.
Hallelujah.
This also means that your landlord may not charge you in advance for the last month's rent. So, folks, there are a lot of landlords out there that do not know the
Still
new
doing
law.
it, yeah.
And they will say, okay, well, I want $2,000 for,
last,
or the first and last. They can no longer do that in New York State. It is only your rent. All right, here's some other new laws. New York State. A rent payment, and this is about limiting late payment fees and fees for credit and background checks. A rent payment can only be considered late if it is received more than 5 days after it is due. So if your rent is due on Monday and you pay it Wednesday, it is still on time. It is not past due. Yeah, considered late. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's past due, but you can't be charged. The most your landlord can charge you as a late fee, what do you think, is how much money?
I say $10 a day.
What do you say?
I would say it's probably either $50 or 5% or something like that.
You read it.
No, I didn't.
50, yes, you did. It's $50 or 5% of your monthly rent.
Oh, wow.
Whichever, hold on, is less.
Yeah.
The landlord does not get to choose that. So whichever is less. I'm trying to teach on this show. I'm trying to teach.
Wow.
Daya says real estate, I'm going to call her real estate mogul. She'll sell your house. Daya Nadine Hutchins says, yes, no more than the rent amount, only first and security. That's it. Here's the new laws. The landlord has to give you a copy of the background credit check as well as an invoice from the company that performed it. Otherwise, they can't charge you for it. So they can't just say, I'm not renting you. Now, folks, this is why your credit got to be right. Let me say it again. Let me say it for those in the back. This is why you got to get your credit right. So if you don't have credit right now, don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. You're going to need it in this life. Because when I was young, nobody was doing credit reports for a rental house.
No.
And my rent was $200 a month. Nobody did credit
I
reports.
was going to say the best.
Everybody.
The most they would do is just call your previous landlord.
Yes. Oh, there's news about that, about the previous landlord, too. Before signing a lease, the most a landlord can charge for a credit check and background check is how much? What do you say?
I'm going to go 35.
75.
20.
Wow.
I can't believe it. I'll read it again. Before signing a lease, if you don't have a lease, the most the landlord can charge is $20 for a credit and background check. Here's another new law. The landlord has to give you a copy of I read that. You can provide your own background and credit check to avoid fees as long as the background credit check was done in the last 30 days. Pass this information on. It's better for you to get it. if you're going to multiple places, or these multiple places can charge you. And it says you can provide. This is the law, folks. So if somebody says we can't, well, we're not going to take yours, still got to charge you, call the New York State Attorney General's office. Oh, here we go about landlords and background. No more, and okay, in Texas, in Florida, they have a tenant blacklist. Like if you messed up in an apartment, there's you can go on a list of what the violations were. Now this is why you have a huge homelessness problem in different states. So here's the new law. No more tenant blacklist. A landlord cannot deny you an apartment, rental home, or any other type of rental based on a past legal conflict with the landlord. For example, a landlord cannot deny you an apartment because you sued your previous landlord to make repairs.
Wow.
Annalisa Condon on Facebook says that is absolutely correct. Good credit is a must. Marie Collins says now folks having other folks pose as a landlord. I believe that. If a landlord rejects your application after using a tenant screening service, a company that landlords use to see if you have ever been taken to court, and you have a past history of tenant-landlord disputes, the law assumes that you are rejected because of this history. And the landlord may have to pay a fine if they cannot give a good reason for denying you.
Wow.
Ooh, come on and teach. Come on, bring your teacher hat in the room. Okay, they make it easier now to break your lease. If you leave your apartment or other rental home before your lease ends, your landlord has to make a good faith effort to fill the vacancy. So they can't. So in the past, you leave before your lease ends, the landlord doesn't fill the apartment, you got to pay the rent still. You still have to pay that
You're
rent.
responsible. Yep.
Now what they're saying is the landlord has to give a good effort to fill the vacancy. That's why I tell people, if you leave, don't tear up your place or leave it dirty.
No.
Because then the landlord can say, hey, it took me 3 months to repair this.
Yep.
No, sweep that place up, clean it up. If you have to leave, first of all, try to negotiate with your landlord.
Absolutely.
And if it's a good reason, you lost your job, you're moving out of town, don't just get up and leave. This is important, folks. If the landlord, go ahead.
I was
Go ahead.
getting ready to say on that, because even when I moved up to Buffalo, it was literally just a phone call like, hey, I'm moving out of town, blah, blah, blah. And, and there was no issue. Landlord was just like, hey, man, best of luck, blah, blah, blah. Like, just give me the drop dead date you're out. Like, communication is always best.
Exactly. And I encourage people, when you're renting somebody's house, remember, that's their house still.
Right.
And if they're not taking care of it, that's one thing. And I'm going to try to get to that because I keep hearing people say, I held the rent. You can't just simply hold the rent. There's a whole process.
Yes.
So, yeah, it makes it easier to break the lease. If the landlord finds a new tenant and the new tenant's rent is equal or higher to your rent, your lease is considered terminated and you no longer are liable for the rent. You have a right to a receipt. Most people know this. If you pay rent in cash or money order, your landlord must provide you with the receipt. Now, that was a problem at one of our housing complexes because you drop off your check and people weren't getting a receipt. So hear me, folks. This is the law. If your apartment complex says drop off the rent in some type of box and you are putting cash or money order, it says specifically, if you pay by check, you may also request a receipt. So any payment, now with cash or money order, they must provide your receipt.
Yeah.
With cash, with a check, you can request a receipt. You only have to ask once. Come on, teach in the room. After that, your landlord has to give you a receipt every month. So you don't have to keep asking every month. Again, if you want to see this, it's on the Attorney General from New York State, her website. Your landlord must keep proof of rent receipts for 3 years. You ask once. This is what I want to suggest to you all. Ask in writing.
Absolutely.
Don't just go by Miss Sue and tell my Miss Sue I need a receipt. No, send her an email and say, I want a receipt every time I pay my rent.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
Absolutely.
You are entitled to notice of past due rent. Your landlord must send you a written notice by certified mail. Come on, people don't know this. I didn't know this. every time you are more than 5 days late. If your landlord fails to provide you with the notice, you can raise this as a defense in court.
I believe it.
I didn't know all of this. Come on, can renters check on the landlord's background, and what about property management? Not that I know of by law. I mean, you can. I mean, anybody can. You just got to pay for it.
Yeah.
The landlord is going to pay for it, but it's a good point. It's a very, very good point, because you got some landlords out there that's being really shysty and shady, and I already had my contact with one recently, right on my street.
And I do know one of the points being brought up with our Affordable Housing Task Force is that kind of landlord property manager database. So that is something that's being discussed.
Absolutely.
And there's discussions on both sides about what that looks like, because we have had issues where people went to somebody's house and was outside in the middle of the night. So that's why it's sensitive, but, trying to have that discussion and work it out.
But it's important, because landlords have to be responsible also.
Absolutely.
And I know there's some bad tenants out there, horrible. But I also know there are some horrible landlords, and that's what we're trying to work out before I leave the council. This is the front burner issue for me. Your landlord cannot bring, and even if it's not done by the time I leave, I'm going to be advocating that it gets done until something gets done. Your landlord cannot bring you to court for non-payment of rent unless you have been given a 14-day written rent demand. Until you are evicted, i.e. the sheriff or marshal executes a warrant of eviction, you can have your non-payment case dismissed if you pay all the rent that is owed. Let me read this again. Until you are evicted, you can have your non-payment case dismissed if you pay all. Because landlords just want their money.
Absolutely. That's
And they want it on time. And they don't want to be chasing you.
Absolutely.
They don't want to be, just pay the people. And if you got a problem, you got to talk. In a non-payment case, you can be evicted for not paying your rent. You cannot be evicted for non-payment of other fees, such as late fees, legal fees, or added fees. All right? Reminder, when facing eviction, it is often a good idea to consult an attorney. There are many free legal services, and that's on the website. All right, I'm moving on. This is good stuff. Security deposits. What you know about security deposits? Because I don't know anything.
Well, the bigger thing is if you don't have a lot of maintenance when you move out, you're supposed to get it back. But that's really all I know.
Do you know the timing? What do you think? How many days? I wouldn't know if I didn't have the
they
laptop.
got 14 days.
Ding, 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 ding. Your landlord must return your security deposit within 14 days of you moving out. If your landlord takes any money out of the security deposit for damages, they must provide an itemized receipt.
That I did know.
Describing the damage and its cost. If your landlord doesn't give you a receipt within 14 days of moving out, then they must return your entire security deposit, whether there is damage or not. 14 days. Ding, 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 ding. If you are planning to move out, you can ask your landlord to inspect the apartment. I always say this. Ask them to inspect it with you there.
Absolutely.
Before you move. They must allow you to be present during the inspection. At that inspection, the landlord must tell you what needs to be fixed or cleaned. You can then take care of the problems yourself to prevent the landlord from keeping part of your, because a lot of landlords will, not a lot, let me take that back, that's extreme. Some landlords will later to be like, no, well, you needed to paint. Nope, walk through that apartment with them. And when you even get the apartment, walk through and photo everything.
Absolutely.
Forget about taking pictures, do video.
Absolutely.
Because your picture, you might miss, a hole in the wall. Take video up, down, all around, underneath.
India says take photos before you move in as well.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Before you move in. Have that inspection before you go in. If your landlord deliberately breaks the law, you may be entitled to twice the amount of security deposit. So I'm out of time, but I'll try to deal with landlord next week.
Hold on, because I think the major one that just real quick was about how to withhold rent.
Hold on.
Before we go.
Because these were new protections. Hold on. Talk about sponsors while I look those up. You want the paper?
Sure.
Here, Rob, make yourself useful. Hand that over there. Make yourself useful while you're here.
We are grateful for our sponsors, Hobson's, the Doctor of Dry Cleaning, 874 East Delavan. I'm confused. It's not as easy. Hey, listen, I've been over there, I think, 3 times in the last 2 weeks. So make sure you support Hobson's, the Doctor of Dry Cleaning. And in your hour of need, Brian K. Lewis Funeral Homes, 3 locations to serve you, 347 Peckham, 22528 Bailey, and 1275 Sycamore. This week, they have taken care of the Caper family and the Lowe family.
All right, so I can't vouch for this website. It just came up, caretaker.com, rent withholding laws in New York State. It's legal for tenants in New York to withhold rent until the landlord makes major repairs. But they must notify their landlord of the problem first and give them a reasonable amount of time to fix it. It's not specific. I want it from a website that I can say it came from. Let me see. Legal Aid Society, New York Bar. Okay, withholding rent can be risky because your landlord may sue you for non-payment. Your landlord owes you. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. If your apartment doesn't have heat or hot water on a regular basis, then your landlord has. I don't have it. I can't do it, and I'm out of time.
Okay. I was trying to see if somebody.
Be sure to give the landlord written notice of the bad conditions. Keep the proof of the notice. You may be able to sue your landlord for a rent reduction or withhold rent if your landlord fails to make it. Withholding rent can be risky because your landlord may sue you for non-payment of rent. However, under HSTPA, the landlord may have to prove that the eviction is not retaliatory. You may also try to make I wanted to give you this. All right, next week, tune in. I'll have it ready. I'm sure somebody online, because this is so important that you know the law. It's a whole process that you have to go through, but I'm out of time. I got to throw it back over to the station. Join me next week. I'll do this on top of the hour unless something else come up that I got to talk about. Until then, power to the people.